Okay, welcome here. Okay, welcoming everyone for this event. We will be starting with the introduction of the world of cloud computing and Microsoft Azure. Okay, the agenda of this event is a quick review of cloud concepts, benefit of cloud computing, types of development models, and types of service models like platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and other types of service models. And what is Microsoft Azure and Azure services like storage, resource groups, etc. And features of Microsoft Azure. And some real-time Azure deployments. Briefly introduction to Azure Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador Program. Okay, we will start that what is cloud computing. Yes, we all have super ideas for deploying some great apps like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, softwares and tools, but we don't have a platform to deploy them. So we'll be using cloud computing, which will handle the backend servers and other things. Just we need to deploy the website or other softwares that we need to deploy. And for it, you only need internet connection and account to log in to the cloud provider. Why is cloud computing is better than private hosting? Has private hosting need some initial setup and it is very expensive to buy hardware and software and need to upgrade them by paying them a huge amount of money in advance. We use or not is not an option, but we need to pay for the services we need to use. But there are two more disadvantages to this approach. The number of users increases. You need to increase the amount of hardware you use. And so on. As our customers increase daily due to the usage of online activities in recent times. So we always prefer to go for cloud hosting or some public hosting rather than going for a private models. As we have seen very increase in users. So we always prefer for going for a public or a hybrid hosting rather than going for a private hosting. As there are many companies that has users around the world. When they deploy in a public or hybrid one, they cannot reach every place in the world for the customers. So always prefer public ones which have too many CDNs around the world which will deliver the content around the world. So here is a difference between on-premises and cloud computing. On-premises where we need to pay to buy the software and hardware and OS, comma other things, and it is very less scalable and the geolocation of the server is very less. And we also need huge spaces for servers and these licenses etc and appoint an IT team for hardware and software maintenance and poor data physical security and less chance for data recovery and lack of flexibility, no automatic updates, less collaboration, data cannot be accessed remotely. These are some of the on-premises disadvantages. And what are the features of cloud computing are you only need to pay for what you use and no server space required. No server space required, no experts required for hardware and software. Hardware and software and better data security, disaster recovery, high flexibility, automatic software updates. Teams can collaborate from widespread locations. Data can be accessed and shared anywhere on the net. These are the basic service types in any cloud computing. They are virtual machine, laaS is also called as infrastructure as a service, where companies will buy them in huge bulk racks of servers so that they can deploy very high and heavy load softwares, which are proprietary softwares of that so-called companies. For example, Apple buy infrastructure as a service from Amazon Web Services so that it can deploy its websites, servers, comma etc. And VM scale sets, auto-scaled workloads for virtual machines, container instance, simple container hosting, easy to start, Kubernetes service platform as a service, app service platform as a service, where lot of apps we have seen on the internet that are deployed on Google Cloud Platform, which all which only runs these Android app platforms. Why cloud computing? Where we can't purchase infront for the amount of users that we have. So it is always better to go for cloud computing where we can scale on the amount of users that we have better than on premises. It is famous for pay as you go bias. So the only reason of using cloud computing is as it is famous for its pay as you go bias. We can say that storing in a hardware device may corrupt the data, or any failure in the device may have chances of losing of the overall data that we are saving. So going for an online device which use RAID configuration so that it will store the memory into or more devices, and it will be shared in different locations throughout the world. And what is cloud computing? Thus, we have cloud providers who own massive data centers, which are hundreds of servers, storage systems, and components critical to the organizational working. Users can access any service based on their requirement. Users only pay for the services they use and nothing else. Okay, benefits of cloud computing are backup and restore data, improved collaboration, excellent accessibility, low maintenance cost, services in the pay-per-use model, mobility, data security, unlimited storage capacity. There are some disadvantages. That is that internet connectivity should be a minimum speed of 10 Mbps or so on based on the usage of the developer or the company, and limited control. The users can't have hardware access to the devices. They only have software or OS access only. Vendor lock-in. For example, most of the companies prefer to use their own proprietary softwares, which is not possible in cloud. They should either use Windows or iOS. Security, as proprietary softwares are not used in cloud security. They are owned by the cloud company only. Only cloud security is only accessible in cloud computing. For example, Azure Defender, etc. Okay. There are types of deployments in cloud computing. There are service model and deployment model. There's an infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Deployment model, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and private cloud. Okay, the most common one is public cloud, and second common is hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud means it contains of both private and public. If only it's a single cloud, it's called private. If it is shared between public and private, it's called hybrid. Only going for a third party vendor is called public cloud. These all three contains three types of models. They are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Software as a service example is your mailbox. Platform is your database, which is also called DaaS, database as a service, or infrastructure as a service, which is a full-time website which is being scaled from the background on the usage. This is the 2020-21 magical quadrant for the cloud, where Amazon Web Services is on the top position. Second is Microsoft. third is Google, and next comes Alibaba Cloud, Oracle, Tencent Cloud, and IBM. Types of deployment models: hybrid cloud, private cloud, and public cloud. Hybrid is like using a taxi where you'll pay and you also own some contents. Private cloud is owning your personal car. Public cloud is like public bus where you can use how much you want. And shareable storage where you can share huge amount of data like 100 GB, 200 GB in public cloud, which is not possible in a private or hybrid cloud where you can't share that much of data at a time as your bandwidth is wasted by sharing, where sharing of these files is all managed by your public cloud providers, which you need not to manage. Private cloud's advantages are security and organization, where you can organize your hardware features like virtualization, OS, number of users, database, etc., where security is managed by your software. Hybrid cloud, where you use both public and private cloud. So there should be connectors deployed, which connects the public cloud and private cloud. So the chances of leaking data is more. As the connectors fail, there is no transfer of data between public and hybrid. There are service models are infrastructure, platform, software as a service. These are the most common types of service models used. If your business needs a virtual machine, opt for infrastructure as a service. If your company requires a platform for building software products, pick platform as a service. Software as a service. If a business doesn't want to maintain any IT requirement, choose software as a service, where you can deploy static websites. In software as a service, in platform as a service, you run servers like Apache's server engine. In infrastructure as a service, where you will be running Microsoft Server 2020-21, such type of software, where you own the OS and you will be running it based on the usage. As these are some of the infrastructure as a service products: Amazon EC2, Amazon S3, IBM Cloud, Microsoft Azure Virtual Machine, Rockspace, a open cloud company, and DigitalOcean. And there is another company that is Google Cloud. Infrastructure as a service is a cloud service that provides basic computing infrastructure. Services are available on pay for what you use model. Infrastructure providers include Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Compute Engine. User IT administrators. Platform as a service is very similar to infrastructure as a service, but where you'll be only using the software that is above operating system, where you can't change the operating system, only you can run different types of softwares, example Apache search engine or any virtualization softwares, which again split up the data. Software as a service. Cloud providers host and manage the software application on pay-as-you-go pricing model. All software and hardware are provided and managed by a vendor, so you don't have to maintain anything. For example, Mailbox, which is Google Mail, where we will be purchasing Google Mail MX records from Google and pasting it in your MX records in a website, where these all are software as a service, where the company will manage your software and you only see the front end. Differences between infrastructure, platform, and software as a service. In software as a service, you no need to control anything. Everything is controlled by your provider. In platform as a service, you only control applications and data. In infrastructure as a service, you control applications, data, runtime, middleware, and OS. And all other things are controlled by your vendor. And virtualization means splitting up the data from the hardware. For example, you can run 3 or 4 systems in a 16 GB RAM PC. Servers, there are different types of servers like Intel, AMD, where the cloud provider will be purchasing from vendors and will be supporting you through virtualization, storage, and networking. The above things are managed by the cloud provider. The only things you need to manage is OS, middleware, runtime, data, and applications. Differences between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Consider a task where you are planning to bake a cake. These all things, for example, when you go for an on-premises, you all need to purchase all of these things and you should make them. But if you go for infrastructure as a service, half of the things are managed by the provider. For example, here is a bakery, and for a platform as a service, it's like cake delivery, where water and dining table for eating is only required. In software as a service, you'll be going for a hotel. It's very similar to that. Cloud computing market share as of Q4 2020-21 by a research group, where AWS owns 33% of the cloud share, Microsoft Azure at 21%, and Google Cloud at 10%, Alibaba Cloud at 6%, IBM Cloud at 4%, Salesforce at 3%, Tencent Cloud at 3%, Oracle at 2%. Okay, we'll be talking about Microsoft Azure from here. Azure is a cloud computing platform and an online portal to access and manage resources and services provided by Microsoft. Microsoft Azure is a set of cloud services to help your organization meet your business challenges. It's a freedom to build, manage, and deploy application on a massive and global network. And Microsoft owns nearly 130 plus data centers around the world where you can deploy n number of virtual machines and scale them at different data centers so that every customer can reach your data in a minimum amount of time rather than wasting huge amount of time for reaching your server. And it is the second largest cloud provider around the world. And it supports languages like C/, Node.js, Java, JavaScript, etc. Azure services are divided into 18 categories and contain more than 200 services. They are compute, networking, storage, IoT, migration, mobile, analytics, containers, AI plus machine learning, integration, management tools, developer tools, security, databases, DevOps, media, identity, and web. Azure services are compute a virtual machine. It's a simple Microsoft Windows or Linux or other types of applications which are based on virtualization from a same physical hardware. And app services are designed as enterprise grade web application service, supports multiple programming language and containers. Container instances is a service that enables a developer to deploy containers on Microsoft Azure public cloud without underlying infrastructure. Web apps is used to deploy websites where you will only update the data and everything, including the servers, is managed by Microsoft. And Azure Kubernetes Services is fully managed service that allows you to run Kubernetes in Azure without having to manage Kubernetes clusters. Disk storage, which supports Windows and Linux based clustered or high availability applications via Azure shared disks. There are two types of disks in Azure, managed disks and unmanaged disks. Blob storage, which is used mainly to store unstructured data like images, videos, etc., where the storage are different types of user accessible files like mostly images or videos which are of high amount of storage and easily accessible. And Azure files, they are industry graded and mounted concurrently by cloud or on-premises deployments. Azure Queue Storage. It's used for access messages in the world. And networking, the most common networking is content delivery network, which supports a single data, a single image to be split among Azure 43 data centers so that the data can be shared very fastly with the user and don't take very long time. For example, if we take a bank page, if it is deployed in a content delivery network, the access time of the data of the bank page nearly takes 10 seconds because the 43 data centers help the data to circulate any message very fastly. Express route is a part of the content delivery network which connects all data centers to each other, so the transport time of a message from one data center to one data center is very negligible when compared to a user to data center transmit. Azure Virtual Network is mostly used for the users to access the cloud features in a virtual network or creating a resource group which is only accessed through a virtual network. Azure DNS is used to host websites using Azure DNS. For example, Azure DNS.net, which will be hosting your website in the internet with higher uptime. Features of Azure: on-demand provisioning. Ask for what you need when you need and when to stop. Scalability in minutes. Scale out or in up or down depending on usage. Pay as you consume. Pay only for what you use. Abstract resources. Focus only on your needs, not on the hardware specs. Efficiency of experts measurable, and based on the usage of the experts on their knowledge, there are different types of options for deploying a single thing. What deploying the type of service you use is only managed by the administrator of your business, where you can run both PC and Mac, can contain large and complex applications. CI/CD shortens development cycles. Amazing management tools to meet your needs. Completely focus on your application and not infrastructure. Cloud services trusted by 90% of Fortune 500 companies. Built-in security controls help respond to security needs. Okay, if you are interested in Microsoft Cloud, the image shows what are the types of certifications that we have. We have Azure, Microsoft 365, Dynamic 365, and Power Platform. Power Platform is used by business analytics to record the data and automate it. And Dynamic 365 is used to automate directly from the input data. And Microsoft Azure will do the backend work. So we'll deploy a real-time static website using Azure Static Apps and GitHub. Resource group is a small amount of files, small amount of collectible files in a particular group so that the administrator will know that this particular Web app is deployed in a resource group that is managed by another administrator or a other department of the same company. You can have other sources like Azure DevOps and other, where you will be uploading the files including the index.html and 404.html, but we will be deploying the site, the static site using GitHub. It take it takes time for deployment. Okay, the website is deployed where we can fully access the website. Okay, the files will be accessible directly from GitHub. Okay, so what are the so for all these files, you can access them directly through the website. Okay, we have successfully deployed a real-time static website using Azure Static Apps and GitHub. Okay, there are too many career benefits for choosing cloud computing as a career, as there are high demands in the technology and grab a better job role like administrator or a database developer in cloud. And you can convert to a artificial intelligence in cloud, data scientist in cloud, and there are many other opportunities in cloud where you can use your full stack web development or backend web development as a base and grow in cloud computing. And I have been selected in the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program. So if anybody is interested, I'll be explaining how to get selected in this program. The eligibility criteria is that you should be 16 years old and from any higher educational institution and irrespective of branch. You can apply from the studentambassador.microsoft.com domain. I'll be pasting them in the chat box. If anybody is interested, they can apply. And a quick walk through and a quick walkthrough of application form. This is the official website for this Microsoft Launch Student Ambassador, and you should accept the privacy terms and policy. You should give your first name, gender, pronoun, date of birth, country, state or province, and your mobile number, your primary mobile number, and you should be verifying it with your primary code and your country of your academic institution, state, name, degree program, degree level, expected graduation date. And you should be answering three applicational questions, that is teach, inspire and promote. How will you teach a question, teach an answer to one of your friend or a colleague, and how would you inspire your community, and how would you promote an event in your community. And these are some social media links that you have. The first one would be your blog set, the second one would be your recorded video on how would you solve problems, and third one would be your resume, and fourth one would be your GitHub, and fifth one be your LinkedIn, and sixth one be your blogging site, and Stack Overflow and Twitter. If you have Instagram and plural site profiles, you can give them also. And additional information, which of the following technologies that you are interested, and is there anything else that you would like to share with us? Like what are the technologies that you mostly use? For example, like most of the technologies that you use, most of the technologies that you use like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, etc. And anything that else that you would like to share, like why that why are you applying to this program, etc. And there are 4 milestones in it. The whole program has 4 levels. The introduction one, where you will be selected for the program. Second one is alpha level. Third one is beta, and fourth one is gold. And if you are a new one or introduction level student, you will be access to an amazing community. You will get a Microsoft Office 365 account and access to softwares. And after you are promoted to alpha, you will get Azure credits, Visual Studio Enterprise subscription, free LinkedIn learning, and Microsoft Azure Watcher for writing exam cost at $150 or $200. And all the benefits of new ambassador also will remain same. And after you are selected into MLSA beta, you will get one more MTC voucher, pricing pilot for AI gaming tournaments, expense reimbursement, and swags like LinkedIn premium account for 1 year or Xbox Game Pass for 3 months. And you will be getting a beta swag kit and consideration for new student ambassador summit which happened in year 2020, where you have events in Microsoft Office in Bangalore or Delhi. All the benefits of new alpha ambassador will be also remaining the same. Gold, you'll get 4 MTC vouchers, consideration for special events and special engagements, opportunity for programming leadership, Microsoft MVP interaction. Gold swag kit, all the benefits of new and alpha and beta student ambassador also will remain the same. And there are similar programs. One is this one, Microsoft Student Ambassador, which will be closing on 31st August 8, 2022 for the next cohort. If you wish, you can apply. And the similar program is from GitHub too, where you can apply for GitHub Campus Expert through this following link. I have pasted the link in your chat box. Thank you.